The purpose of this video is to inform you of the city's intent, benefits, use, and reasoning for using the old Public Works yard as a temporary construction yard for the Coconino Estates Improvements Phase 1 project. Per the item regarding the Mogollon property planning discussion at the February 4th council meeting, it is understood that this 8-acre site of the old Public Works yard on the Mogollon property shown here is in fact part of Thorpe Park, and that multiple community members asked to start referring to it as the Thorpe Park Annex. In this video, the area is being referred to as the old Public Works yard, not to be deceitful, but to simply be concise and transparent so there is no confusion as to the location and boundaries of the area being discussed. Each street in the Coconino Estates Improvements Phase 1 project has its own color-coordinated limits, with orange for Beale Road, red for Navajo Drive, purple for Navajo Road, and turquoise for Whipple Road. Improvements on all streets within the project generally consist of replacing existing utility and roadway infrastructure. Construction started in spring of 2020 and is anticipated to last through the fall of 2022. Every project needs a temporary construction yard to stage construction materials and equipment. You do not build a project of this magnitude and complexity without a significantly sized yard. Initially, this southern portion of the old Public Works yard was authorized as a temporary construction yard for the project. Other yard locations were considered due to their proximity to the project, but ultimately were not pursued due to their existing use, access, trees, and size. These other yard locations include the area in front of the Army Depot off Thorpe Road, the east shoulder of Aztec Street next to the ball fields north of Thorpe Road, and the area north of the Thorpe Park soccer fields off Aztec Street north of Thorpe Road. The buildings in the northwest corner of the old Public Works yard were recently removed, making this area an ideal location given its size, proximity, and existing fence. After evaluating the area even further, more and more benefits to the community, the project, and the city became apparent. Again, in orange is the old Public Works yard site on the Mogollon property in Thorpe Park. In red is the southern portion that we previously used and currently have authorization to use as a temporary construction yard. As you can see, it is a decent location given its proximity, existing fencing, fairly open area, and access off Mogollon. But the existing trees make it a relatively small area when compared to the proposed temporary construction yard at the northwest corner shown here in yellow. Here are the project limits as previously described on Navajo Road, Navajo Drive, Beale Road, and Whipple Road. There will be significant community benefits by replacing the outdated infrastructure with this project. This yard in particular offers benefits given its size, access to reclaimed water and electricity, and existing fencing shown here with the dashed yellow line. The size of this yard allows unusable materials to be brought from the project site to be processed for reuse. These materials would otherwise need to be hauled across town to be processed and returned, or even disposed of and replaced with new materials. With the project being less than a half-mile away, utilizing this yard will greatly reduce the need for lengthy truck trips across town and will minimize emissions through decreased fuel consumption given the proximity to the project. Utilizing this yard also offers benefits to the city and the remediation plan of the area by the contractor, Eagle Mountain Construction, offering to help restore the southern portion to a more natural condition with the removal of the existing asphalt and the removal of the existing fence around the property at no additional cost to the city. The restoration of the southern portion would prepare the area for potential future plans like the expansion of the existing urban farm incubator, shown here in green, or just restoring the area so the community can access it and use it, recognizing there is no money in the budget and staff doesn't anticipate there will be any money for at least 5 years. The yard would be limited to the solid yellow line area and would not disturb any of the existing buildings. Use of this yard will include storage of construction materials including water line, sewer line, storm drain piping, electrical conduit for new streetlights, soils being AB, native soils, cinders, and recycled asphalt. The yard will also be used for processing materials prior to placement, storing construction equipment, parking workers' vehicles rather than in neighborhoods surrounding the project, and placing a temporary construction office trailer. The materials for the entire project will not all be stored at the site at one time, as there are separate areas of the project that will be completed at different intervals, with materials being ordered and staged as needed. Some materials could even be delivered directly to the project site. In summary, this yard has numerous benefits, including the size of the yard allows us to restrict the temporary construction yard to one specific location. Multiple sustainability factors, including reducing carbon footprint, allowing reuse of existing materials, and lowering fuel consumption given its proximity to the job site. Access to reclaimed water and electricity, and existing fencing surrounding the area. Continuing the restoration of the southern area, allowing the community to access and utilize the area at no additional cost to the city. The city does not currently have a plan or funding in place for the restoration or redevelopment of the area within the next 5 years, making this the best possible use of the property as it sits today. The temporary use permit can be terminated with 45 days notice should the city choose to do so. The current condition does not allow for the community to access and/or use the site for the community's safety and protection, as well as the existing structures. The temporary use permit for the use of the old Public Works yard as a temporary construction yard for the Coconino Estates Improvements Phase 1 project was approved through the city's typical process and is endorsed by Public Works, Parks, Facilities, and Sustainability. There is a significant benefit to the community given the infrastructure improvements that will occur with the project, and having a temporary construction yard in close proximity to the project to minimize our impacts to the community. If not here, where would we put it? By utilizing this yard, the project benefits by maximizing efficiency and minimizing the construction duration. The city benefits financially, and the community benefits from the infrastructure improvements and the continued restoration of the old Public Works yard to a more natural condition.